Bladesmiths, welcome to our strength test, the whiskey barrel ring chop. I'm gonna take each of your knives and I'm gonna beat them repeatedly and viciously into these whiskey barrel rings. I don't really care what your knives do to the rings. I wanna see what the rings are gonna do to your knives. Rob, you're up first. Ready to go?
Go for it. Still one piece?
Well, Rob, we took a little damage. I mean, we're biting into that ring quite well, but we did leave a piece of it in the ring. But this is definitely stronger than the steel you made it from. Good job.
Thank you.
How you feeling now, Jason?
I'm interested to see how mine will perform.
We're all gonna find out together.
Good job, buddy. Man.
Jason, very good job on the blade. You got a little chipping and edge rolling, but it's really not much of anything, considering what I just did to that ring. The one problem I have is your handle. It's very narrow and rounded, but overall, nicely done. Michael, you ready to go?
It's gonna hurt worse than hot sauce watching you smash my baby. That hurts so bad.
Congratulations, Michael. Blade held up well. We got a little chipping, got a couple little spots that are missing. The other thing is, if I didn't have a glove on, I'd be feeling these corners. But overall, nice job.
Next up is the sharpness test, a fan favorite, the apple slice. Rob, you're up first. You ready?
Let's see what's left.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Clean cuts right there.
So, Rob, where you have an edge, it's very sharp. You can see it picked up a lot of material right there where the chip is. And that last apple is standing. I just ran out of the blade. It's cut halfway through. Good job. All right, Jason, you ready?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. I knew you had that.
It's a big carving knife. The blade passed through the apples nicely. You cracked a couple of them, but you don't really see any marks left by the tears that are in this blade. It's a good cutter. Well done. All right, Michael, you ready?
Feeling saucy.
Just catching that last apple and cutting that clean and that thin a slice off of it shows a really sharp blade. Without the grinds going all the way to the edge, it's sort of pushing its way through. It's cutting 3/4 of the way through the apple and then breaking the rest of the way, just wedging it open. It's that wedge shape, probably started riding up on that lower edge.
Yep.
And just climbed up out of those apples. But definitely a sharp knife. Good job.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, the judge's deliberation is complete. They've made a final decision. It's time for one of you bladesmiths to leave the forge. Rob, your blade did not make the cut.
Rob, you brought us a knife that was beautifully designed with an incredibly comfortable handle, which I really appreciate. Unfortunately, in that strength test, you left about 1 inch of your blade in that barrel strap. For that reason, we're gonna have to let you go.
Why?
Rob, please surrender your blade. The length of your blades must be between 10 and 13 inches. The overall length of your weapon must not exceed 22 inches. You must include a through tang in your blade's design. You have 3 hours to forge your blades. Good luck. Your 10-minute design window starts now.
I'm gonna make a recurve camp knife. I know they can stab with the drop point on them. I want something with nice curves. It's good for slicing and something that I know will satisfy the obstacles that they're gonna be put through.
Bladesmiths, your 10-minute design window is closed. Your 3-hour forge time starts now.
I'm gonna give Canister Damascus a shot, but I've never done one before, so it's a little intimidating.
Ooh! What I think these guys are going for is if they stretch out the springs, it's easier to get powder
All
around
the way
them.
around that
Yeah.
material.
If I don't put space between each coil, then I could end up with delamination or cold shut.
I've never welded before, so this is fun.
Okay, so we have a smith here that does not know how to weld.
Come on, Andrew.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, turn it on
Yeah,
first. Turn it on helps.
Let's see if he gets the hang of it.
Shoot.
Can't see through the visor, and I'm trying to hook the welder up to the steel and then quickly pull down my mask because I can't see anything.
Mother.
It's ugly.
Just dumped his canister and spilled about half his powder out.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty bummed, but there's no way this is gonna happen. I'm not gonna even waste time to do something that I don't know.
I gotta do a 180 and try to make up for all this lost time now.
I don't have time for any more mess ups. I've already messed up once. Plan B is to get these coil springs welded up, and I'm gonna get a piece of mild steel, wrap it around that, weld it together for some sand mine.
It's got one long wire, but so little metal.
I've got my springs welded up, so now I start getting my mild steel into a sandwich shape. I need to get it nice and tight to where it's not gonna fall out when I go to set my first weld.
Andrew's moving some steel.
The problem with Andrew moving some steel is he doesn't have enough steel to even create an edge for that thing.
I know what I'm gonna end up with, and it's not gonna be my style or pretty, but I just wanna get a knife done at this moment.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmith, shut down your machines and drop your tools. This forging round is over.
I hope the judges can appreciate that I did everything the old-fashioned way. I don't really appreciate welding. I like to do rivets. I think welds are kind of ugly, for the most part. That welder.
Bladesmiths, this was a very difficult round one, really challenging your problem-solving capabilities. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Mike, you're up.
One thing that I like about this blade is it's designed for a stabbing test. So you have that spear-like shape over there. I like that you have a false edge on one side that'll support the stab.
Andrew, you know what to do.
I'm gonna be totally honest, MIG welding's about the easiest welding there is out there. I really would have liked to seen you maybe spend about 10 minutes and just figure it out. That could definitely help you beef this blade up, okay? This is very lean.
Bill, you're up.
You got wires that are sticking up on the ends that are loose. I can wiggle the wires inside the taco. So it's definitely not welded up 100%. Especially that piece.
Bill, your blade did not make the cut. Jay will explain.
Bill, we all really appreciate the work you put into that challenge, but not having your high carbon steel forge welded together, it's the least developed blade we have presented to us today. So that's why we're gonna let you go.
What's the worst you've ever gotten hurt doing this? I was carving bone one time. You know, one of those Dremel tools with a saw blade? Yes. I caught that on my fingers and ended up with 15 stitches across 3 fingers.
Ouch. Your career as a guitar player was put on hold, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, heat up, darn it. I was using an oxyacetylene torch, and I don't know why, but I flipped it up, like, toward my face. You can see my hairline's a little bit higher on one side.
Yeah.
The high side is where I burnt it, and the hair never grew back.
First time I worked on a real anvil that had actual rebound, and I clocked myself in the forehead with a ball peen hammer.
I've done that too.
Yeah, I think everybody has.
making it. I skinned my fingers off on the belt sander, or
Like that.
I burn everything on my body. It's a nice thing about tattoos, they cover some things up.
Exactly.
I was grinding this resin, big cloud of resin all around me, and then I switched and grabbed something steel and sparks, and it was a fireball. I mean, it looked like gasoline fire. It was, whoa. I was engulfed in flames. I never will grind resin again.
Feel warm in here? I had a knife I was working on years ago, and I just finished it, and it was perfectly sharp, and I put a coat of oil on it, and then it slipped out of my hand, and I went to grab it as it was falling, and it just cut through this finger. And
Not for
that was my first episode passing out in the emergency room, where the guy had the needle in there, and he was wiggling it around, and you're breathing like a pregnant woman. Yeah.
I've got a burn here from a glob of metal that fell down. I had my leather jacket on, and it fell down the sleeve.
Oh,
and it was
do a
sitting
dance?
there. Yeah, well, I'm trying to get my coat off, and this freaking thing is just sitting right there fizzling away in my elbow pit.
I really don't want this to go squirrely on me. I was grinding, and the first second, I watched in slow motion as this piece of grinder slag, molten orange, comes spiraling around right over the lens and catches me in the eye. In fact, if you get close enough, you can still see the little burn right under the color of my eye from it.
Yikes. Worst injury I ever had was probably when I was in probably 9th grade. During the day, I was forging, getting ready for the big homecoming dance, and I poured some gasoline into a tin cup and spilled it on the forge. And of course, it was still hot, so I ended up splashing my face with burning gasoline. Then I went out with my date. Did not go well.
There was no second date, huh?
There was no second date.
Whenever I get close to the fire and it's windy, I've smoked this mustache 3 times.
Woo, doggy.
Buffer got a hold of me one day.
What'd it do?
Sitting there with a big old bowie knife, caught it, right on the old Willie. You talking about hurt.
Okay.
That was not comfortable.
My grandfather told me, he says, what you don't understand is everything you're doing right now, you're gonna pay for
The
it.
length of your blade, not including the tang, must be between 12 and 15 inches. The overall length of your weapon must not exceed 22 inches, and you will have 3 hours to forge your blades. Good luck, bladesmiths. Time starts now.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that we're going to see some teamwork here. There's enough axle steel there for 6 smiths. Everybody want some of this?
Yeah. Just take that to the chop saw.
So we found out that the axle for the cannon is high carbon spring steel, which is a great blade making material. On a lot of early fighting knives, they would have a section of brass on the spine of the knife. So I decided to add the mild steel spoke from the wheel of the cannon and combine these 2 different types of steel to meet the parameters of the blade build.
Daniel is the only one of our smiths that has welded anything together so far.
I'm using the spoke because it's the perfect size for the spine of my knife, and then I'm gonna rock on with my forging. There's always a chance when you're heating such a massive piece of steel and a small piece of steel to forge weld them together that you're gonna burn the small piece of steel. And I've never forged welded on this particular type of spring steel, so I don't know the exact parameters for the temperature limitations for it. I'm definitely having second thoughts about my course of action.
Daniel's got a clear lead. He's way ahead of everybody else.
I'm at the point now to where I can go ahead and harden the blade.
Daniel has quenched with 1 hour and 16 minutes left on the clock.
First thing I see is a crack about midway down the blade, right on the cutting edge. I thought maybe I could grind this thing out, so I keep cleaning the cutting edge up, and there's 2 more cracks right on the cutting edge.
Wait, what is he doing?
Immediately sick to my stomach.
What's Daniel doing right now? What the is happening right now?
Did Daniel abandon his blade?
The last thing on the planet that I want to do right now is start all over again.
I don't know why you would start working on something else with 1 hour left in this competition.
I have no options. I have to start over. I got a long ways to go and a short time to get there. I'm going to do everything I can to catch up. That just shattered like glass when I hardened it.
30 minutes!
This second blade isn't nearly as refined as the first one, but if I can get this thing quenched and get to the grinder for at least 3 or 4 minutes, I feel like I might have a chance to make it through the second round. It's not as hard as I want it to be, but not every tool steel is as hard as a file. So we're moving on to the grinder.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmith, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This forging round is over.
I definitely royally screwed up the first blade, but I am happy that I didn't give up.
Bladesmiths, in this first round of competition, each of you had to source steel from 2 different locations on a cannon. It's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. All right, Daniel, please present your blade to the judges.
This was really smart, fast work. I would love to see that fitted up better, but you hammered this out, got this done in basically half the time. You know, you've got just enough of a tang here for a blade this size. So seeing how you're going to connect a handle, work it into this blade and work it into that guard, it's going to be interesting. Good job.
Thank you very much, sir.
Jesse, you're up next. Please present your blade to the judges.
Well, Jesse, you started with a huge piece of steel. I think it really hindered you in your ability to get things moving. The handle is kind of big in all dimensions. I like that you designed a chopper, but it is quite rough. I mean, it's still rectangular. Despite all of it, you turn something in and it meets the parameter.
Thank you. Colin, you're up. Please present your blade to the judges.
That kind of drop to the handle, I mean, it'll be interesting moving forward to see how you're going to deal with this whole section and incorporate it into a handle.
Bladesmiths, the judges have completed their deliberation and they've made a final decision. The bladesmith leaving the forge. Jesse, your blade did not make the cut. Doug Marcotte is going to tell you why.
Jesse, I hope you take from this experience to continue on because the world awaits for your work. But at the end of the day, your blade was the least finished, and that's the reason we're sending you home.
Jesse, please surrender your blade. The length of your blades must be between 9 to 11 inches long, not including the tang. The overall length of your weapon must not exceed 22 inches. Good luck, bladesmiths. Your 3 hours starts now.
All right. Pretty nerve-wracking knowing you're gonna have to make something off of a motorcycle. First thing that comes to mind, probably take something like the chain, which has got a good nickel content. I'm making a utility camping knife. Simple, holds up good. Canister Damascus comes to mind because that would incorporate pieces off of the motorcycle, which is a requirement, but also give you enough high carbon steel from another source to hopefully get a decent billet to make a blade. I've got a heck of a temper. I'm gonna try my best to not lose it if something goes wrong, but I can't promise anything. Pretty much everybody's going with the same idea. Canister Damascus is one of your only options.
Jonathan, I didn't see him use any whiteout on his canister Damascus.
I don't know that he has experience doing can.
Hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait, brother.
I'm stressed out about whether or not that canister Damascus is gonna come out in one uniform billet or if it's gonna come out with spider webs and cracks all in it. Okay, let's make some sparks. I'm cutting the side of it off. I am prying at it with a chisel and a hammer. Nothing's happening, nothing's working. I don't like it when things go wrong. So I just start prying at it as hard as I can go, and little by little, I get the 4 sides off. Okay, start drawing it out, thinking everything's great. Next thing I know, there's cracks everywhere. My only plan is kind of going to crap.
It's not sticking. He's in trouble.
So I'm staring at a pile of metal chunks, so I've got to come up with another plan.
Jonathan, he's going for more parts? He's going for the other part of that disc. Looks like he's starting from scratch.
Holy.
So I start drawing out my blade shape, and I'm actually making up some of the time I lost.
Jonathan's moving that piece of steel very quickly.
And I look down, and that knife doesn't look like anything I've ever made. But I don't know if it'll actually harden at the quench.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmith, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This round is over. Huge mistake. That blade wasn't even 1,100 degrees when he popped it in the oil.
Bladesmiths, In this first round of competition, you were to source the steel that you needed from a pair of motorcycles. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Andy, you're up first. Please present your blade to the judges.
I understand this was your first canister weld?
Yes, sir, it was.
It's beautiful. There is a warp. Starts right about there. But, I mean, it is one solid piece. Well done.
Jordan, please present your blade to the judges.
Well, Jordan, I do like the shape of your knife. One question I have for you. You file checked after quenching in water. How did you think it was ever going to get harder than heating it up that hot and quenching it in water?
I figured I might as well make a giant fireball to go out in.
I'm just really concerned about that quench, especially that last going back in there. I mean, you know, fireballs are cool, but hard blades are cooler.
Jonathan, you're up. Please present your blade to the judges.
Well, Jonathan, the handle is comfortable. I like the swell at the back. You quenched towards the end, and let's hope it's hard.
Bladesmiths, the judges have completed their deliberation and they've made a final decision. The bladesmith leaving the forge is Jordan. Your blade did not make the cut. Ben Abbott's going to tell you why.
Well, Jordan, unfortunately, your last attempt at a quench failed to harden your blade.
You turned in a soft blade. Although you and Jonathan both missed the parameter, your flaws will be far more difficult to fix in round 2. So Jonathan lucks out this time, but unfortunately,
we're going to have to let you go.
Jordan, please surrender your blade.